So Israeli forces have killed at least 194 people across Gaza in the past 3 days, many of them in residential areas. The Israeli army says it targeted more than 100 Hamas sites. In Khan Yunis, in the south of the Strip, rescuers retrieved one body and pulled a number of wounded from the rubble of a family home. In Gaza City, a search and rescue operation is underway after another attack on a home. It was in the Sheikh Radwan district and has been completely destroyed. And these are the latest pictures out of al-Nusrat refugee camp in central Gaza, where an Israeli strike injured babies and children. Also in central Gaza, at least 6 Palestinians have been killed in the city of Deir al-Balah. A child is among the dead there. OK, let's cross to Hani Mahmoud in Deir al-Balah, who's live for us there in central Gaza. So, Hani, really attacks have been ramping up in the last few days.
Absolutely, and it's quite obvious from the number of funerals. Since we arrived 2 hours ago here at the site of the Al-Aqsa Hospital, we've seen many of the funerals here with large gathering of remaining family members, funerals of people who were killed in overnight attacks in Deir al-Balah city. But we could feel a sense of frustration coupled with sadness and the agony, and also the fact that this is allowed to continue to happen, a mass wholesale killing of Palestinian civilians in their tent camps or in front of their homes or simply walking in the streets, overnight attacks. And since early hours of yesterday's evening, we've seen many of the attacks happening right at the top of every hour. The latest was a school in Al-Bureij refugee camp, and as soon as people left the school to the outside gate in front of the street vendors buying dinner or whatever is available to feed their families and their kids, they were struck by a drone missile, killing 4 people right at the spot, particularly majority of them children. 3 of the children arrived as of early hours of yesterday's evening to the hospital. Tens of injuries as drones and missiles are packed with shrapnels, very sharp nails and little pieces of metals that are cutting through the flesh, causing severe bleeding and causing burns. Are here at the hospital inside the Al-Aqsa hospital right here, the emergency department, waiting for their turn to be admitted to the operating theater. Across the Gaza Strip, a surge in the attacks, a quite significant surge that already causing further civilian casualties, forced displacement, as well as sheer level of destruction. And right now, Gaza is beyond rebuild, just given the sheer level of destruction that is caused to virtually all means of life. The residential buildings, public facilities, infrastructures, there are areas that have turned into more of a wasteland. The Israeli military justified these attacks as it was operating against militants and Hamas members across the Gaza Strip, cataloging 100 attacks or strikes across the Gaza Strip. But when we compare this narrative to what we see on the ground, the gap seems to be getting bigger and bigger between what the statements are talking about versus what we see on the ground. Women and children are making up the vast majority of casualties of these attacks. The Israeli military continues to talk about the use of precise ammunition to target militants and Hamas members across the Strip. But what we see here coming as ambulance pulled up in the courtyard of the hospital, more of the children, more of the women are in fact the target of these attacks. Also, these statements, we've been following them for the past months, and these seem to be quite the same, offering no substantial evidence whatsoever. More residential blocks have been targeted and destroyed as of yesterday in both center Gaza City, in an area better known as the Saraya complex, as well as further to the northern western part of Gaza City, to the eastern part also of Gaza City. Further northern part, the ongoing demolition of homes and destruction continue to happen with no let up in sight for these attacks.
Yeah, no let up in sight. That's the phrase, isn't it? All right, Hani.